Hello friends, welcome to my channel. Today we are going to see a specific index for DynamoDB table which is called Sparse Index. I will not go into details of what is indexing and why we should index. I assume we know that, and if not, we can cover that in our basic tutorial later. But for this particular video, I am focusing on Sparse Index, which satisfies specific access pattern requirement in DynamoDB table. So whenever you have requirement for using a attribute which is uncommon, which is not part of your partition key or your sort key, then how you should tackle that access pattern. For example, you have an order table, and order table may have customer ID as a partition key and order ID as a sort key. So if you know, or if you want to know all the orders for certain customer, then you can use customer ID as a attribute for querying it and then get all the orders for that customer, right? This is fairly easy when you know what is the access pattern, what your partition key and order sort key satisfies it, then that is the easiest pattern to work with. But what happens when you have multiple records in your table, maybe millions of records to say that, right? You have that many orders in your table and you just want to know what are the orders which are open, which could be a small subset of all your records, right? You have millions of records, few orders will be shipped, few orders will be completed, delivered, whatnot, right? And few will be open. For example, few orders are just new. So status of that order could be new and other could be in progress. So you just need those order for your access pattern. And access pattern could be, you just need all the open orders and you want to send it to downstream to process those orders. So that can be a batch process where you are finding out all the open orders and sending it to your downstream. But how you can do that? You have millions of records. You don't want to scan complete table and then find out subset of those records from your base table, DynamoDB table. You don't want to do that because that will be that will be very slow and it is very costly because you need to scan table and look at all the records and just find out what is interested to you. That is which are orders which are open, right? So that is what this Sparse Index will help you with, and I'll just get into details. I just set a context why you will need Sparse Index. But let's see what is Sparse Index in a real sense. A Sparse global secondary index is to locate table items that have an uncommon attributes, that is order status, as I explained. Table items that do not contain global secondary index attributes are not indexed at all. So that is the key. Like for example, you can add one more column and make it for example is open, that attribute. So you have that attribute only to those records which are having open orders, and just make it say boolean value yes or no, right? If it is open, you just make it yes. Why? So when you are that particular record or item in your table has is open attribute, then you create an index on that particular column is open, and only those records which has value to that attribute or that attribute present in that record, that will be flown into your index, and rest of the columns or rest of the records items will not be present in your index. So instead of querying your table, you can directly go to the index and your index will have only those records which are having is open attribute. Okay, we'll see it in practice, so that will make it much clear. If you don't get it fully, don't stress much. You just wait and you will understand it completely. I promise at the end of this tutorial you will know what Sparse Index is and how you can use in your real world scenario. So table items that do not contain global secondary index attribute are not indexed at all, and that is a key here. Such a query for a table items with an uncommon attribute can be efficient because the number of items in the index is significantly lower than the number of items in the table. Project fewer table attributes into index, that way consume fewer writes and read capacity units from the index. So what it's telling is you have say 10 attributes in your table, right? Is open is okay, you are adding that is open attribute only to that record which matters to you, but still don't just keep all the attributes for those records as well in the index. Just project whatever attributes you need. That is what this last point is saying, so that this will keep your index small, and like when you are accessing that index, it's like cost efficient and it is quicker. So that is what this purpose of it. And let's understand in a graphical way, right? Like just have table and what the sparse index is all about. So I think like after looking at this, right, it will be very clear to you. So like we have an order table and these are the attributes at present. There could be many more. I'm just taking this 3 for the simplification. So customer ID, order ID and order status. So you can see that like few orders are shipped, few are completed, and few are new and few are in progress. So new and in progress are the orders which are of our interest, which are not yet completed, which are open. So we want to work on only these last 2 records, and this is just 4 records I'm showing you, but there could be millions of records when we are dealing with real world scenario. And a part of that, like maybe 2%, 3% are open orders, and that's when you want to like tackle with that. So this is a table structure, and as I said, these are last 2 records we are most interested in, because these are open orders for us and you want to send it to downstream for actioning it. So this could be a batch process which reads all the records which are open orders and send it to your downstream. So these are the 2 records which you are interested in, right? So what we'll do is we'll add attribute only to this record, which is open. So I will add new attribute and make it Y, which is saying like, okay, this is open is like only for records which we are interested in, and then create index on this particular attribute is open. So what happens is when index is created, that index will have only these 2 records. Instead of having 4 records in index, it will just have 2 records, right? So these will be the records which are part of our index, and let's see. Okay, you can see that this is a sparse index which we have created on is open, and only those 2 records are flown into our index. And you can see this. What you can really do now is just read this index. Don't go to table at all. If this like columns which you are projected here, I am projecting everything, like all columns, customer ID, order status, and is open for sure, because that is part of the index key. So these are projected attributes, but you can choose like whatever attributes you want to project. You can just project it which are needed for your processing. Just project those and read this index and send these records to your downstream. So these are only 2 items which you want to deal with. So we are really like if 5% of your orders are open, we are just getting those 5% in index, and we are saving our cost of accessing all the 95 orders as part of this index. Okay, so sparse index has 2 records and we are done with this. So now what happens, like your this particular C#1 and order #2, right? That order is shipped now. It was in progress or it was new, so that is shipped. And then what happens is we are removing is open attribute when it is changing status to shipped. So as part of your processing, what you will do is you made like you send that record, then like somebody worked on it, the order is processed and you are changing status to ship because you are already shipped the order. Then what happens is next time when you read it, you will not have that particular record to look at. So if you go into index now, only 1 record will be there. Sorry, it should not be new, it should be in progress, right? Just to have it same what we have shown in the other table. But nevertheless, like I just want to make a point that it should be you remove the attribute and then that will be deleted from your index. And every time when you run batch, right, literally what should happen is when you run the batch, you send it across to your downstream, and then when you come back, you can just change the status if the status is changed, and then it will be removed from that index. So that is what the purpose is. Like it's not like exactly the scenario what you will be looking at, but at least it should make sense now that how sparse index can effectively be used for attributes which are uncommon, not part of your regular access pattern, which you can serve through your partition key and sort key. So this is a really good way to satisfy your particular access patterns. Okay, so this all was theory, and I hope like it started making sense to you. And after looking like last couple of slides, right, you should be able to appreciate it what Sparse Index is. But still, the next thing is we'll look it ourselves when we are going to AWS Management Console. So let's hop into Management Console and start working on it ourselves. Okay, so I'm going into Management Console, and what I have done is just to make it a little quicker for us, I have created order table already, like a DynamoDB table. You can see customer ID, order ID, is open, and order status. These are the attributes I have, and only like orders which are open, which is having status of new and in progress, has like is open populated. And here we don't have is open attribute at all. And one more thing, like one caveat I want to bring it to you is, like if you for example, you just change the status to new to shipped, right, and you are removing this attribute, so make sure you remove this is open attribute. Don't make it null. This may cause a confusion in your index. When you make it null, it is a possible that it will not be deleted from your index. So instead you should remove that attribute. Don't just make it null. And that is what you can do even through AWS CLI or SDK, and I will show it in Management Console as well. Okay, so like you can see that these two are populated. So let's go ahead and see like what this index is all about, right? So if I go into this index, customer is open index, and this is created on is open. So if I run this, I should really see only 2 records. If you see, I have only 2 records. And how to create index, I'll just quickly show you that. I won't create it because I created it just to explain you quicker, but you can just very much just go into create index, like take partition key as customer ID, take order ID, like you do not need is open, you can just take it as a sort key, right? And then everything else you can just keep it same and just create an index. And here you have an option like what records or what attributes you want to project, not records, sorry, what columns or what attributes you want to project to your index. So all means all the table attributes are projected into the index. Only keys, only the index and primary keys are projected into the index. And include is you can choose whatever keys you want to project. So this is efficient way of doing it, but here I am just doing all, but you can choose whatever like attributes you want to project, so that you keep your index small, and like that is faster and even cost effective. And like as it is global secondary index, it has its own RCOA and WCU. So it is not like table RCU and WCU we are using, but it has its own. So if you keep index small, then you are saving that RCU and WCU. RCU is read capacity unit and WCU is write capacity unit. It is like little difference between local secondary index and global secondary index. The local secondary index, like it is tied to very closely to table. It has the same partition key as table. Global secondary index gives you flexibility where you can choose your own partition key, and it need not be same as table partition key, right? So that's what difference when you are talking about global secondary index. Okay, so I'll cancel it because I created it. If you see, like it takes at least 5 minutes to create it. So just to save time, I just create it upfront. Okay, so let's explore this items. And as I explained, when you are using index to scan, you can see only 2 records here. Okay, let's go back to the table, right? And this scan table, and you can see that table has all the records. And now what I want to do is I want to say that okay, in progress order we already processed it, and we want to change it to shipped. Okay, so I'll just make it, or let's open complete record and then make it shipped. Okay, so I just ship the order. And now what I want to do is, this record is of no interest, at least for this particular use case. Order is already shipped, so I will remove this particular attribute completely, is open attribute. And as I was saying, don't make it null. If you make it empty, what happens is I can save it, but there is a possibility, and I have seen it, that it will not delete the record from index. So instead, easier and recommended is to remove this particular attribute completely. Okay, when I save this, let's see. Now I am checking. Okay, my order is shipped and only one order is left, which is in open. So let's see. So if I go into index now and see only one record is left there. So this is the beauty of it. Wherever you are changing it to shipped, you want to remove that is open attribute, and then it will remove that entry from the index, and that's when index will be the one which has all the records, all the information you are interested in for this particular access pattern, and you should be done with this easily than scanning your table. So that's it. I hope this made sense to you. You understood something new or learned something new, and this was fairly easy to understand, I hope. And I just try to first explain theory and then practical. So just cement that learning so that we can, whenever we see this access requirement, we recall that okay, we have seen something like this, and can we use Sparse Index? And if you happen to use it or you happen to learn something from this tutorial, please let me know. I'll be very interested to know whether you try it yourself, and if so, what are your learnings, and just put that in comment section so that I know it, even our viewers know it, and it is helping everyone. Okay, thanks guys for watching, and we'll see you with something new in our next tutorial. For now, bye. Hope you learned something new today. If so, please like this video, share, leave your comment so that I know this content is helping you. Don't forget to subscribe, and that's now. Okay, see you again with yet another exciting tutorial about AWS. Keep learning, keep sharing what you learn, and thanks for watching.